Hello and welcome to this week's video. The topic this time around is going to be absurdism. Absurdism is the belief that the search for the meaning of existence by human beings is pointless and will ultimately fail because there is no meaning. Now, to further understand absurdism, I'm going to move on to talk about Albert Camus, a philosopher with deep ties to absurdism. Camus published The Myth of Sisyphus, sorry if I butcher the name, which is his leading work on the subject of absurdism. In this work, Camus states that suicide is the most appropriate and rational response to the absurd. Because, as Camus states, absurdity is a confrontation between two ideals, and since the human condition in his eyes is absurd, as it is the confrontation between man's desire for meaning and the cold, silent universe this leaves someone the choice of either acceptance or suicide when encountering the absurd. Essentially, it's easy to point out the absurdity of the quest for human purpose. It's natural to assume everything has a higher purpose. But if that thing has a higher purpose, what is the reason for that purpose? Every time we reach a new height, we have to validate it with a higher one. For example, we could use the common theological question to show this. If humankind was created by God, then who or what created God? And if he answers to that higher power, then who does that higher power answer to? It's like the myth of Sisyphus, the guy who has to push that boulder up the hill, but every time it reaches the top, it rolls back down and he has to start over. It relates to two things. One, it mirrors the belief of absurdism, which states that finding meaning of life is pointless, like how trying to roll that boulder up the hill is pointless, because both will ultimately fail. Second, that whole higher power answers higher power reminds me of the hill. Like, say we are Sisyphus and the boulder is a meaning. And when we get to the top of the hill, that symbolizes the higher meaning. But then the boulder goes back to the bottom because we find out that higher meaning answers to another higher meaning. And we continue this pointless cycle forever. So on that note, I'm ending this week's video. And I'm going to leave y'all with this week's question. Does Lightning McQueen buy car insurance or life insurance?